Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
What if your greatest enemy isn't life, but how you think about it? What if mental strength isn't something you're born with, but something you build? And what if the chaos around you is simply exposing the chaos within? If you've ever felt like life keeps hitting harder than you can handle, you're not alone, and you're not broken. But this isn't just another dose of motivation. This is about transformation. Because while you might train your body to get stronger, it's your mind that ultimately decides your future. Until you learn to master your thoughts, you'll keep reacting to life instead of leading it. But here's the truth. Once your mind is forged, once it's disciplined and conditioned, nothing can break you. Not loss, not failure, not fear. You either train your mind, or you're ruled by every situation that weakens it. In the next few moments, you're going to discover exactly how to develop a mind that stays calm and unshaken, no matter what life throws your way. First, you need to understand this. Your mind is like a muscle. And just like any muscle, it must be trained intentionally and consistently. You feed your body, stretch it, rest it. But how often do you condition your thoughts with the same level of care? Think of your mind like a soldier's reflex, sharp, responsive, ready. Left untrained, your mind will weaken. But shaped daily, it becomes a force that can move mountains. Like steel refined in fire, your thoughts must be molded through repetition and purpose. The world is full of noise, distractions, and chaos. If you're not deliberately building mental focus, the distractions will shape you. Romans 12 warns, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That isn't just spiritual advice. It's a command for mental resilience. You train your mind by guarding what enters it. That means watching the voices you let in, the goals you obsess over, and the beliefs you silently accept as truth. Mental clarity begins the moment you decide who you are, before the world tries to decide for you. Just look at George Washington Carver. Born into slavery. No access. No opportunity. No excuses. And yet, he trained his mind like a warrior. He didn't wait for permission. He forged his own future through mental strength. Relentless reading. Endless curiosity. An unwavering belief in something greater. These were the weapons George Washington Carver used to shape not just his life, but history. With that sharpened mind, he revolutionized agriculture, impacted millions, and became an advisor to presidents. And here's the striking part. He did all of this with far fewer resources than you have right now. So what about you? You hold more knowledge in your pocket than he had in a lifetime. Will you use that advantage? Or will you let it slip through your fingers, buried beneath excuses? Discipline is the gatekeeper to mental strength. You say you want strength? Then understand. It won't be handed to you. It must be earned. And earning it means letting go of comfort. You want real power? Then you must first surrender to order. Discipline is not a punishment. It's a preparation, a daily process that shapes who you become. Only those who learn to command themselves consistently will eventually command their own destiny. The world seduces you with ease. Take it slow. Relax. Don't push too hard. But the truth it never tells you is this. Comfort is a quiet thief. It robs you of your potential, gently wrapping you in soft excuses. Every great man or woman who ever rose to greatness first bowed to discipline. Not because they loved it, but because they understood its value. Discipline is the invisible force behind every legacy. It's the soul's way of saying, I refuse to be a slave to fleeting emotions. You say you want success? Then let your calendar prove it. What you commit to daily is a loud declaration of the person you're becoming. You say you desire peace? Then your habits must defend it. A man who claims to want peace cannot entertain chaos in his decisions, in his schedule, or in his mind. Proverbs 25 verse 28 gives a warning that still holds power today. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. In ancient times, a city without walls wasn't protected. It was vulnerable, exposed, and marked for attack. The same goes for your mind and your habits. If you don't govern your mornings, your impulses, your responses, then your defenses are already down. The enemy doesn't need to knock when the door is wide open. Discipline is doing what strengthens you, not what soothes you. It's choosing what builds long-term growth over short-term relief. It means doing what truly matters, especially on the days when you least feel like it. Discipline is the quiet decision to prioritize your future over your fleeting feelings. The man who lives by discipline isn't soft, he is powerful. Why? Because when the crowd quits, he stays. When the world drifts into distraction, he locks in. And when the storm inevitably rolls in, he doesn't run for cover. He rises to face it. Andrew Carnegie didn't stumble into success by chance. He built it deliberately, brick by disciplined brick. His days weren't dictated by emotion or whim, but by a clear structure. He protected his time like it was gold. He chose his company with care, like a seasoned general assembling a trusted battalion. Laziness, gossip, chaos, none of them were welcome at his table. Because he mastered discipline, he mastered his world. Discipline wasn't a part-time habit, it became who he was. It served as the armor around his purpose, and the blade that cut through uncertainty to shape his future. This isn't just about early alarms and completed checklists. It's about seizing control of your life with conviction. It's about standing tall and telling your emotions, "You no longer run the show, I do." And it starts today. Not tomorrow. Not someday when conditions are perfect. You begin with one new routine. One non-negotiable. One small act of rebellion against comfort. You speak to yourself with firmness and authority. You declare that the time for excuses has passed. Every single time you choose structure over indulgence, you add another layer of protection around your soul. One brick at a time, you become a fortress, unshakable, unstoppable. Because discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It's the powerful statement. I was not created to be ruled by cravings. I was born to rise above them. And when you live that truth long enough, strength won't just be something you have. It will be something you are. Power won't just be something you chase. It will be something you radiate. Because destiny doesn't bow to the comfortable. It answers only to the disciplined. Third, remember this truth. Thoughts become reality, but only when they are backed by unwavering faith and consistent action. You are not defined by your surroundings. You are shaped by what you choose to imagine again and again, even when everything around you suggests otherwise. The world might shout limits in your face, but within your own mind, a quieter voice speaks of possibility, of potential, of power waiting to be claimed. Every great success story you've ever known didn't start on a factory floor or inside a bank vault. It began in the unseen space between imagination and belief. A vision born in silence. A whisper that said, "What if?" Every skyscraper, every innovation, every movement began first as a thought. But thoughts, like seeds, don't bloom by simply existing. They must be planted, nurtured, and worked with focused intent. Sadly, most people just flirt with their dreams. They talk about their goals like passing conversations. They entertain grand ideas by day, but sleep with deep doubt at night. But not you. You must choose a different path. You must commit to your vision fully. Say, "I do," to your dream, and then stay married to it through every storm, every setback, every silence. Because here's the truth. Belief that collapses under pressure isn't real belief. It's just a hopeful wish. James 1 verse 8 reminds us that a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. If you bounce between belief and disbelief, if your conviction depends on the crowd or changes with the weather, you'll remain stuck, forever circling the gates of greatness, but never walking through them. Vision demands strength. It requires the kind of resolve that doesn't waver, even when logic screams otherwise. Because faith isn't about how you feel, it's about what you decide. You must train your mind to expect the outcome, to see it in such vivid detail that your subconscious begins to treat it as inevitable. Rehearse your success in silence until it feels natural, until it becomes your baseline. Visualize it with such clarity that eventually, your external world starts to mirror your internal reality. But don't stop there. Because belief without action is nothing more than a fantasy, and action without belief is a recipe for burnout. But when belief and action come together, when they align with clarity and purpose, they become dynamite. Not just sparks of hope, but explosive, world-changing power. Take Booker T. Washington. Born into slavery, raised with absolutely nothing, yet he had the courage to imagine something radical for his time: education for all. In a society that screamed, "You can't," he responded with quiet resolve, Watch me. He envisioned schools where there were none. He saw dignity in people others dismissed as broken. He didn't wait for opportunity. He created it. He envisioned a future that hadn't yet been born. And then, brick by brick, he built it. His legacy wasn't the result of luck or chance. It was the outcome of focused thought, unwavering faith, and disciplined daily effort. So ask yourself this: what are you imagining right now? Are your dreams just passing thoughts, or are they declarations you live by? Are you waiting for something to change, or are you moving with purpose? Are your thoughts idle passengers in the back seat, or are they warriors leading the charge toward a mission? Because your surroundings may be noisy, your life might feel chaotic, and the world may try to label you too late, too poor, too unqualified. But none of those voices matter. Your future isn't written by fate or circumstance. It's written by the thoughts you cultivate and command. And those thoughts, they're standing by, waiting for direction, hungry to be led. So make the decision now. Choose the vision. Hold it tight. Feed it daily with consistent action and bold affirmation. Tell your thoughts exactly where to go, and then move your feet to follow. Success is never stumbled upon. It doesn't just appear. It's summoned by those who see clearly with the mind long before the eyes ever catch up. Don't sit back waiting for permission. Don't keep searching for signs. You are the sign. You are the seed. You are the one holding the shovel. If you refuse to quit, refuse to give in, you will become the harvest. Now, point 4, your emotions. They're powerful, yes, but they're messengers, not masters. They were never designed to sit in the driver's seat. Emotions are signals, flashes of insight, waves of energy, but not steering wheels. Until you train your mind to rise above your emotions, you'll continue being dragged wherever they pull. Emotion is energy. It surges, it shifts, it shouts. But it should never dictate your path. Let your mind lead and your emotions follow, not the other way around. You must take the wheel. You are the driver, not the passenger. You weren't created to be ruled by temporary emotional storms. Anger, fear, anxiety, shame. These are not permanent residents. They're visitors. They knock. They demand attention, but you don't owe them your keys. Let them come and go. Acknowledge them. Learn from them. But don't let them unpack and settle into your mind. The scriptures ask, "Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me?" Put your hope in God. That's not a surrender, it's a call to rise. A reminder, a man talking to himself, calling his soul back to its source of strength. And that's a practice you must adopt. Speak to yourself more than you listen to yourself. Your emotions will shout. They'll try to hijack your attention. But instead of surrendering, you whisper back truth. How do you do that? You pause, you breathe, and then you question the story you're telling yourself. Is this the full truth, or just a reaction? Is this fear, or a false alarm? Choose the higher narrative. Replace doubt with faith, chaos with clarity. Repeat this process again and again until your mind learns to be the gatekeeper, not the prisoner. Because every battle you'll face in life is first won or lost in the mind. Long before you overcome the world around you, you must conquer the one within. Your greatest victory won't come from shouting louder or pushing harder. It will come from mastering your response. Think about Abraham Lincoln, leading a fractured nation through its darkest chapter. He wasn't immune to heartbreak, betrayal, or rage. He felt every emotion deeply, but he didn't follow those feelings blindly. He learned to pause, reflect, and weigh his words like precious gold before speaking them. He didn't just lead with strength, he led with wisdom. That's why his legacy endured long after the conflict ended. History remembers not only his victory, but his vision. That's the kind of leadership that changes the world. Your mind must be stronger than your mood. Your long-term vision must be louder than your momentary emotion. You will feel pain. You will feel fear. That's human. But what you choose to follow, that's what determines who you become. So the next time a wave rises, whether it's frustration, fatigue, or fear, don't run. Don't resist. Let it wash over you like a tide. Observe it, feel it, but don't give it the throne. Don't surrender control to something that will pass. You are not weak because you feel. You are alive. You are aware. That's your strength. But untrained strength becomes sabotage. Raw emotion without wisdom becomes destruction. A life led by emotional impulse is a life spinning in circles, always moving, but never arriving. Speak order into your chaos. Speak vision into your doubt. Speak peace into your storm. Just like a seasoned general disciplines his army, you must train your emotions to respond, not react. Yes, they may resist at first. They'll flare up, they'll protest. But with time and intention, they'll follow your lead. Emotions can be powerful tools, but they were never meant to be in charge. They are meant to serve you, not rule over you. So today, make the decision. You are not at the mercy of every feeling that rises inside you. You are not a puppet controlled by emotional strings. You are the architect of your attention, the commander of your focus. You choose what deserves your energy. Let emotion inform you, offer insight, give you perspective, but let conviction guide you. Let your principles, not your feelings, decide your direction. Because when you live this way, storms will still come, but you won't be swept away. Not because the storm is gentler, but because your foundation is stronger. Not because you never feel shaken, but because your mind is anchored and refuses to surrender. Mental strength doesn't begin with toughness, it begins with truth. It begins with identity. You cannot live beyond what you believe about yourself. If your internal image is small, limited, or average, your life will shrink to match it. You'll choose what's familiar, not what's possible. You'll retreat from growth and avoid risk. Not because you're incapable, but because your identity says you're not ready. But when you believe you are chosen, designed with purpose, and prepared to make a difference, your entire world shifts. You act differently. You show up differently. You move forward, not because life got easier, but because you got clearer on who you are. Every decision, every bold move, starts with how you see yourself. Your self-concept becomes your compass. It silently influences the path you walk and the battles you fight. Scripture tells us, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Not what he says, not what he wishes, but what he deeply believes. Even the words you whisper to yourself when no one else is listening, they matter. The way you talk about yourself in the quiet moments, the labels you accept or reject, these shape your future. They either build walls that keep you stuck, or they open gates to possibilities you haven't yet imagined. Your thoughts are blueprints. And just like a builder follows the design, your life follows your thoughts. If your mental blueprint is drawn with limitation, you won't build a future, you'll build a prison. That's why mental training begins with a decision. But not just any decision. You must decide who you are, not according to your mistakes, your titles, or your past circumstances. You must define yourself by truth, by possibility, by purpose. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to build from it. Take Helen Keller, for example. She couldn't hear. She couldn't see. And yet, she refused to let those limitations become her identity. She didn't allow her condition to confine her future. Instead, she defined herself by her potential, by what she could learn, how she could grow, and what she could give to the world. And because she made that choice, the world didn't shut her out. It leaned in and listened. She wrote books, delivered speeches, and influenced generations. Why? Because her mind wasn't trained to see limitation. It was trained to imagine possibilities. And you don't need the world's applause to rise. You don't need perfect circumstances or a flawless past. What you need is a new agreement with yourself, an unshakable inner commitment that declares, "This is who I am now." Then you repeat that declaration again and again until your mind aligns, your actions reflect it, and your life begins to shift. You are not your weakness. You are not your wounds. You are not the delay or the detour. You are who you choose to become over and over again. And that conscious choice, that repeated decision, that's the birthplace of mental strength. Every time you choose identity over insecurity, purpose over pain, alignment over avoidance, you become more grounded. You grow stronger, not by accident, but by intention. So don't ask the world to define you. Tell it who you are. Don't wait for validation. Declare identity. Because your future isn't held hostage by external conditions. It's ignited by internal conviction. Anchor your mind in truth until the noise of doubt fades. Until fear stands no chance. Until insecurity has no place left to speak. Because certainty has already taken the microphone. The real training begins with what you choose to believe. Say it out loud. Write it down. Live it. Not once, but every single day. Until it becomes part of who you are. Until it stops feeling like a script you're trying to memorize and becomes the truth you walk in. You were never created just to survive. You were made to shape your world, not shrink in it. Not to hide, but to shine. And regardless of what anyone else has told you, you have full permission to rise. You are not small. You are not forgotten. And you are certainly not stuck. You are in the process of becoming. The moment you truly believe, that is the moment your rise begins. You don't win on the stage first, you win in the dark. Victory is never born in the spotlight. It begins behind closed doors, in the hours when no one is cheering, no one is watching, and no one is validating you. It's there, in the quiet, thankless spaces, that destiny starts to take root. Mental strength doesn't emerge from applause. It's forged in silence. In the early mornings and late nights, when everyone else is resting and you're still pressing forward. In prayer, in study, in movement. That's when your future begins to shift. Quietly, powerfully, permanently. Most people don't give up because they're weak. They give up because they crave recognition too soon. They want the reward before the refinement. They want the proof before the process has done its work. But remember Isaiah 45 verse 3. It promises hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places. Your greatest breakthroughs? They often arrive in obscurity, in the moments no one else sees. In sacred solitude, when it's just you and the process. You don't need an audience to evolve. You need discipline. You need vision. You need to become at peace with being unseen. Not bitter, not impatient, but comfortable. Can you trust the process even when it feels like it's leading nowhere? Because the seed doesn't protest while buried underground. It doesn't scream for sunlight. It waits. It grows in silence long before it ever breaks the surface. And so must you. Train your mind to stay focused when progress feels invisible. When there's no applause, no results, and no recognition, keep going. That quiet season, it's your proving ground. It's the furnace where your character is refined, where your resolve is tested, and where your calling is clarified and confirmed. Long before Thomas Edison was celebrated, he failed, again and again. Not once, not twice, but thousands of times. In a quiet lab, without cameras, without applause, without funding, just belief. Just faith in something no one else could yet see. He didn't chase recognition. He pursued solutions. He didn't beg for the spotlight. He showed relentless persistence. And because he stayed faithful in the darkness, eventually the entire world witnessed his light. You must learn to do the same. You have to embrace the silence, not resent it. Because if you can't carry the weight of being unseen, you will never survive the pressure that comes when all eyes are on you. Fame without foundation leads to collapse. But obscurity? That's where roots are planted, and roots make you immovable. So instead of cursing the quiet season, use it. Let it shape you. Pray in the silence. Train when no one is watching. Let the stillness become your sanctuary, your preparation ground. The noise, the attention, the platform, it will all come in time. And when it does, you won't just be seeing. You'll be ready. The world may one day celebrate your fruit, but never forget, God cultivates your strength in the roots. That's where your real transformation takes place. Victory isn't something you stumble into. It's a mindset, a discipline, a daily decision that begins in private long before it's ever proven in public. So stay the course. Keep showing up. Stay aligned with your purpose. And even when no one claps, keep moving forward. Because if you can be faithful in the shadows, you'll shine in the spotlight, and you won't burn out. Let the silence sharpen you. Let the slow process build your endurance. Let the hidden place become sacred to you. Because those who persevere in quiet places carry a strength the world cannot shake. And when the curtain finally rises, it won't reveal someone who got lucky. It will reveal someone who was trained, tested, and trusted. Someone who didn't quit when no one else was watching. And now, we arrive at a powerful truth. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain. It's about mastering it. You will face blows. You will take hits. You will feel bruised and battered by life. Life doesn't wait for your readiness. It doesn't knock politely before it enters. Storms crash into your world, suddenly, violently, bringing pain, pressure, and disruption. They don't ask for permission. But strength? Strength isn't measured by how well you avoid the blow. It's defined by how quickly you get back up after it. It's the speed of your recovery, the calmness of your mind, and the unwavering decision to not let that pain dictate the story that follows. Pain is not your enemy. It's your instructor. It's the chiseling force that reveals who you truly are. Train your mind not to recoil at discomfort. Stop labeling every setback as an attack. Could it be that some pain is actually preparing you for your next level? Romans 5 verse 3 reminds us, "We glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope." Pain is the trigger that starts the process of transformation. It grows something within you that comfort never could. If you want to become mentally strong, you must redefine how you see suffering. Don't ask, "Why me?" Instead, ask, "What is this building in me?" Don't turn away, lean into the fire. Let hardship carve you into someone not bitter, but better. Let your pain speak. Ask it the tough questions. Allow it to show you where your limits lie, so you can push beyond them. Let it reveal where weakness still lingers, so you can replace it with wisdom. Think of Frederick Douglass, born into unimaginable suffering, beaten, chained, sold as if he were nothing. But he didn't let pain silence him. He didn't let bondage own his mind. In secret, he taught himself to read. And with each word he learned, he built power. He built a voice. And that voice would one day shake the world. Though he was physically enslaved, his mind remained free. He transformed pain into fuel. He didn't just survive, he rose. And not despite the pain, but because of it. You see, growth doesn't come during easy days. It comes when life breaks you down and you choose to rise anyway. While others stay on the ground, you roll over, plant your feet, and push back. That's what resilience truly is. Not perfection, not being unbreakable, but the relentless return. It's not about never falling. It's about making every fall count. Every time you hit the floor, you rise with something new. A sharper insight, a deeper layer of grit, a fire in your chest that whispers, "You may knock me down, but I will not stay down." So let life strike. Let it swing hard. Let the bruises form. But whatever you do, don't crumble. Don't collapse. Your scars are not symbols of shame. They are evidence, undeniable proof that you were forged through adversity. They show the world that what was meant to destroy you only made you stronger. You didn't just survive, you learned. You adapted. You grew. And with each challenge, you leveled up. Mental strength doesn't reveal itself when everything flows smoothly. It surfaces when nothing is easy. It's in the decision to keep standing, to keep swinging, to keep believing, even when your heart is heavy and your hands feel empty. That's where the deepest strength is born. So today, don't hide from the pain. Embrace it. Don't curse the hardship. Study it. Let it shape your soul. Let it carve depth into you. Because the fire you endure now will become the very light you guide others with later. And every storm that tried to bury you will only push your roots deeper into unshakable ground. You will rise, not because life suddenly becomes gentle, but because you have become unbreakable. You are resilient. Now hear this. Guard your mind like a fortress, because it is under constant attack. This is more than a battle against laziness or fleeting distractions. You are in a war against subtle, relentless forces. Messages that whisper you're not enough, ads that manipulate your insecurities, distractions designed to pull you off purpose, doubts that creep in like shadows. These aren't just random thoughts. They're trained soldiers, and their mission is to breach the gates of your soul. If you don't defend your mind with fierce intentionality, you'll be overtaken without even realizing it. Proverbs 4 verse 23 gives a clear warning. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This isn't poetic advice, it's survival. Your mind is the control tower of your destiny. It determines how high you rise and which direction you go. If that tower is compromised, the whole journey veers off course. Thoughts become words. Words become actions. Actions become habits. And habits shape your life's outcome. If your thoughts are toxic, your results will be too. That's why you must be vigilant. You must be ruthless. No more being casual about what you consume. No more being careless about who you let speak into your life. No more tolerating thought patterns that sabotage your peace. If a thought doesn't serve your purpose, it doesn't belong in your mind. You wouldn't allow a thief to stroll through your front door and steal your possessions, would you? Then why allow anxiety, bitterness, or fear to camp out in your mind, rent-free? Mental strength doesn't begin with muscle. It begins with awareness. You must take your post as the watchman on the wall of your mind. Stand guard. Be vigilant. Ask yourself, who's knocking on my mental door? What message is this thought trying to deliver? Is it building me up or slowly tearing me down? Every unchecked thought is a potential breach. But once you recognize it, once you become aware of it, that awareness gives birth to discipline. And discipline is what fortifies your mental gates. It's what turns vulnerability into strength and reaction into response. Consider Theodore Roosevelt. We know him today for his bravery, intellect, and indomitable resolve, but he wasn't born a warrior. As a boy, he was frail, sickly, and gripped by fear. Yet his father, a man of foresight and strength, challenged him, not just to grow stronger physically, but to become a man of iron will and mental resilience. Roosevelt accepted the challenge. He consumed books with intensity. He trained his body with purpose. He studied the world around him, history, war, nature, and politics, not just to know, but to become. And in time, that weak boy was gone. In his place stood a man carved from commitment and fortified with mental steel. He didn't pretend to be strong. He was strong because he built his mind like a fortress, brick by brick. And now it's your turn. You must secure your mind with the same level of intention. Be ruthless with your inputs. Choose books that challenge you over gossip that numbs you. Choose the power of silence over the clamor of noise. Surround yourself with people who sharpen your character, not those who dull your edge. Speak life over yourself, because sometimes the most dangerous enemy isn't the one shouting outside your walls. It's the one you let whisper inside. This world will test you, not once and never gently, but over and over, day by day. The pressure will rise. Distractions will pull at you from every direction. And if your mind isn't fortified, if you're not grounded, you won't withstand it. Not because you lack strength, but because you lack preparation. You were unaware, unarmed, undisciplined. So draw the line today. Set the boundary. Build the gate. Start small. Choose a morning of quiet reflection instead of mindless scrolling. Read a book that builds you instead of content that drains you. Connect with a friend who speaks truth instead of flattery. Keep a journal to clear the clutter and clarify your vision. These aren't just habits. They're reinforcements. They are your daily bricks. The foundation of a mind that cannot be breached. These practices are not luxuries. They are your armor. They are the invisible shield that protects your focus, your energy, and your purpose. Peace isn't found in escaping life. It's built by guarding what matters most. Guard your mind, or you will surrender your purpose without realizing it. Guard your thoughts, or you'll lose your voice in the noise. Guard your heart, because everything in your life flows from its condition. Every word, every action, every outcome. When your mind is fortified, no storm can shake you. No criticism can pierce you, and no failure can scatter you. You become the watchman, the warrior, and the witness of your own transformation. You are no longer led by chaos. You stand above it. Silence becomes strength. Learn to say less and think deeper. In a world that rushes to speak, that celebrates volume over value, the strongest voice is the one that waits. It listens. It observes. It chooses carefully. Loudness does not equal certainty. In fact, most people are loud because they're insecure. They hope that if they keep talking, confidence will echo back. But it never does. A trained mind knows better. A disciplined mind uses silence like a sword. It observes before it strikes. It assesses before it speaks. It responds instead of reacting. The undisciplined mind lashes out. The strong mind leans back. Ecclesiastes 5 verse 2 reminds us, "Do not be quick with your mouth, for God is in heaven and you are on earth. So let your words be few." This wisdom is timeless. This isn't just about talking less. It's about speaking with intention. Your thoughts grow sharper, your words more effective, when you understand that restraint isn't a weakness. It's power. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this adding value? Is it building someone up or tearing something down? Is this a moment to speak or a moment to stay silent? Every word is a tool. It's either a deposit or a withdrawal from your future. Words are not neutral. They carry the weight of your character. They either build bridges or they burn them down. Only a disciplined mind has the wisdom to know the difference and the strength to act accordingly. Take Abraham Lincoln, for example. Known for his wisdom and poise, he had a habit of writing letters in the heat of emotion, only to never send them. Why? Because he understood the power of pause. He knew that the momentary satisfaction of reacting wasn't worth the long-term damage of careless words. He would often rehearse his speeches in solitude before delivering them to the world. That kind of restraint, that deliberate practice, it earned Abraham Lincoln something far more powerful than applause. It earned him respect, influence, authority, not because he flooded the world with noise, but because every word he spoke carried weight. He didn't win attention by volume. He commanded it through clarity. His strength was in knowing when to be silent and when to speak with intention. You must train your mind to find that same strength in stillness. Stillness isn't weakness, and it's certainly not stagnation. It's strategy. It's the eye of the storm where vision, not emotion, takes the lead. In a chaotic world that worships speed and noise, what it truly needs is clarity. And clarity only comes when the soul is unhurried. Don't chase being the loudest person in the room. Aim to be the one everyone leans in to hear when the chaos calms down. When the dust settles, it's not the first voice people remember. It's the one that speaks last with certainty. The voice that cuts through confusion. The voice that echoes long after the noise dies down. When you speak with precision, people stop to listen. Restraint is not about silencing yourself. It's about mastering your message. It means you know your words have power, so you don't scatter them carelessly. You lay them down like bricks, carefully measured, constructing something that endures. True influence is never measured by how much you say, but by how deeply your words land. So start today, practice the pause. When you're tempted to jump into a conversation, pause. When your pride wants to prove something, pause. When your emotions start to race, pause. That pause isn't weakness. It's where wisdom begins. Let silence do its refining work. Let it create space for your mind to catch up to your mouth. Because silence doesn't make you passive, it makes you prepared. The strongest voices aren't always the loudest. They're shaped in stillness, sharpened by thought, and released with purpose. Speak less, but speak with truth. And when you do, your words will shift atmospheres, move hearts, and linger in minds long after you've finished speaking. Because real power is quiet, but undeniable. Vision is what makes you mentally unshakable. Without vision, you drift. You chase trends, fall into traps, and confuse busyness with purpose. You react instead of lead. You scatter your energy instead of channeling it. But when your mind is trained to fixate on something greater than your current circumstances, you become immovable. Vision isn't just an image in your head, it's a force, a reason to rise with conviction, a compass when life grows foggy. And once you've found it, you no longer chase every voice. You follow your own. Proverbs 29 verse 18 says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." And it's true, vision is oxygen for the mind. Without it, your thoughts begin to suffocate under the weight of fear, doubt, boredom, and distraction. But when you have vision, real vision, your mind becomes anchored, focused, determined. It's locked onto something bigger than the moment. When you can see the end from the beginning, the struggle in the middle doesn't break you, it fuels you. You don't panic, you press forward. Because vision reminds you that pain is passing, but purpose endures forever. That's why you must train your mind to return to your vision every single morning. Not just when it's easy, not when things feel good. Every day, without fail. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Pray over it. Revisit it so vividly in your mind that reality has no choice but to catch up. Because here's the truth. Drifting is natural, but discipline never is. That's why vision becomes your anchor in a sea of emotions and opinions. Without it, you're pulled in every direction, by pressure, by distraction, by voices that don't know you're calling. Think of Wilbur Wright. Long before humans believed flight was possible, he saw it, clear as day. He imagined a future where man soared through the sky, even when the world called him foolish. He faced crashes, ridicule, repeated failures. But his vision held firm. It became his fuel, carrying him through rejection and setbacks. And in the end, he didn't just create a machine. He created a new realm of human potential. Because vision isn't about predicting the future, it's about having unwavering conviction. So ask yourself honestly, what do you see? Not with your eyes, but with your spirit, with your faith, with the fire inside your purpose. Vision isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper, a quiet voice inside saying, I was made for more than this. And your job? It's not to have every answer. It's not to map out every turn. Your job is to fix your eyes on the finish line and keep walking, even when others sit down. Vision doesn't need a cheerleading squad. It just needs clarity. Because once vision lives inside you, you become unstoppable. Chaos doesn't shake you. Criticism doesn't derail you. Comparison doesn't distract you. You lead with focus because you already know where you're going. That's what makes vision dangerous to delay, to doubt, to discouragement. Because your mind has already arrived. Now your body is just catching up. So ask yourself now, what do you see? What are you building? Who are you becoming? Speak it until it becomes real. Until it strengthens every cell in your body. Until, when life throws its storms at you, you can look them straight in the eye and say, "You're not bigger than my purpose. You're not stronger than where I'm going." Vision is not a luxury. It's a lifeline. It's not just helpful. It's essential. It's the invisible line that separates those who drift aimlessly from those who lead with purpose. It's what turns wanderers into warriors, sleepwalkers into trailblazers, victims into victors. So protect your vision. Feed it with clarity. Obey it with discipline. Because when the chaos around you begins to shake everything loose, your spirit will remain unshaken. Why? Because your destination is already anchored. And when people ask how you endured, how you stood firm when everything seemed to fall apart, how you kept moving when quitting felt easier, you won't claim to have had all the answers. You'll simply say, "I had a vision, and I trained my mind to follow it, no matter what." Here's the truth most ignore. Consistency is greater than intensity. It's not about the one-time push, the overnight grind, or the dramatic breakthrough. It's about what you repeat. It's the habits you build in silence, the choices you make when no one is watching. Most people start with a burst of energy. They sprint into action, hoping momentum will carry them. But when motivation fades, they crash. They wonder why change never lasts. But those who are mentally strong, they live by a different law. They understand that small, deliberate actions, done daily, carry more power than big actions done once in a while. Consistency is how you train your mind to believe in you. Every time you show up, especially when you don't feel like it, you're casting a vote for your future. You're proving to yourself that you are trustworthy. And when your mind learns to trust you, you don't need hype. You don't need external motivation. You have something far stronger, momentum. Momentum builds slowly, almost invisibly, when consistent action becomes habit. And those habits, over time, become your identity. Galatians 6 verse 9 gives us a powerful blueprint. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. That's more than inspiration, it's a strategy. The harvest doesn't belong to those who start with a spark. It belongs to those who stay with the fire, who keep tending to the soil, even when the sky is dry. So stay the course, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. It's not the ones who act when they feel inspired that rise. It's the ones who follow through, regardless of how they feel. To cultivate true consistency, begin with something simple, something small, but stay fiercely loyal to it. Make one promise to yourself each day, and keep it. Not occasionally, not when it's easy, but every single time. Don't chase feelings. Feelings change with the wind. Chase follow through, because that's where real strength lives. It's not born in the excitement of the start. It's forged in the discipline of the repeat. Your progress is not defined by one great moment. It's defined by what you do repeatedly, by the effort you refine, the goals you stick with, the commitments you refuse to abandon when the mood fades. Harriet Tubman didn't change history in one dramatic sweep. She didn't wait for praise or the perfect timing. It was one journey at a time, one act of courage after another. She moved through forests, past fear, through the dark and unknown. Her fuel wasn't emotion, it was relentless consistency. She had a mission, she had a direction, and she had the grit to repeat the journey again and again. That's why her name still echoes through time. You don't need to be extreme. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be faithful. Faithful to your goal. Faithful to your word. Faithful to your path. Do it again and again, not until you're exhausted, but until it becomes who you are. Because real power isn't in a sudden burst, it's in the build. It's in the quiet, daily discipline, the unseen effort, the private choice to rise when no one else is watching, the steady decision to move forward, even when it feels like nothing is changing on the outside. But something is changing you. Your roots are stretching deeper. Your foundation is being set, Your character is forming layer by layer. And your resilience? It's compounding. Today, make that simple decision. Keep that small promise. Lay just one more brick. It doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs to be done. Because brick by brick, habit by habit, day after day, you are building a life that lasts. A life filled with purpose and strength. Consistency may not look impressive in the moment, but it is powerful beyond words. It will take you further than motivation ever could. It will carry you across deserts that talent alone can't traverse. It will transform you from someone who dreams into someone who delivers. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize you didn't need to be extreme. You only needed to be consistent. Your environment is either fuel or poison. It either feeds your purpose or slowly drains it. You may be stronger than you realize, but even the strongest mind can be worn down if it's constantly immersed in the wrong surroundings. Your environment is never silent. It speaks to you every single day. And over time, those subtle messages begin shaping your identity. They can reinforce your purpose or they can quietly erode it. If you're consistently surrounded by fear, doubt, laziness, and gossip, don't be surprised when your vision starts to fade. You may still desire greatness, but you'll find yourself shrinking to fit the environment around you. You'll dream big, yet live small. 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33 delivers a clear truth. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. But this goes beyond friendships. It's about atmosphere. It's about the energy you absorb, the conversations you hear, the habits you normalize, and even the media you consume. You cannot rise to greatness while entertaining environments that normalize mediocrity. You can't train for excellence while living among excuses. So if you're serious about transforming your mindset, start by auditing your environment. What voices are you allowing into your life? What conversations are you silently agreeing with? What habits are you justifying that keep you stagnant? These are not small questions. They are life-altering. They determine the direction of your mind, your habits, and eventually, your future. Your space should reflect your purpose. Surround yourself with books that sharpen your thinking. Seek mentors who challenge your limits. Embrace silence that restores your focus. Create order in your physical world that supports clarity in your mental one. Fill the air with prayer that centers your soul. Because chaos is never neutral. It doesn't just distract you, it drains you. Disorder doesn't just confuse your schedule, it clouds your judgment. And once discipline starts to slip, clarity is the first thing to disappear. Think of your environment as a garden. If you don't actively protect and cultivate it, weeds will grow without asking. Toxic thoughts, lazy habits, and negative influences sneak in like thieves. Before you know it, the space where your dreams once lived becomes a breeding ground for excuses. Don't let that happen. Because one truth remains, your environment is never passive. It's always shaping you. The question is, toward what? It is always shaping you, whether you notice it or not. Your environment is either lifting you higher or holding you back. It's either whispering reminders of who you can become or quietly reinforcing the version of yourself you've settled for. That's why the space you choose to live in, physically, emotionally, mentally, matters just as much as the goals you set. Your surroundings will either amplify your vision or slowly suffocate it. But don't misunderstand this. It doesn't mean you have to run from every difficult place or shut yourself off from the world. It simply means you must move through life with intention. Growth doesn't come from isolation. It comes from designing your reality to match your destiny, from deliberately aligning what's around you with what's within you. That means choosing to say no to what weakens your spirit and a bold yes to what fuels your purpose. Let your environment become more than a backdrop. Let it be a silent partner in your progress. Let the books on your shelf speak destiny over your life. Let the voices in your circle echo truth instead of noise. Let your daily routines declare your commitment without a word being spoken. When your surroundings reflect your purpose, your mind begins to operate on a different frequency. You stop scrambling for clarity and start moving with quiet conviction. Things that once drained you begin to fall away. Things that once distracted you lose their grip. Why? Because you've aligned your world with your why. So take inventory, not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Clean your room. Delete the distractions that steal your peace. Block the noise that clouds your focus. Make space for wisdom, for order, for energy that lifts you. Build an environment where greatness can breathe freely without resistance. And when you do, you'll feel something shift. Your energy rises. Your clarity returns. Your vision expands. Not because you became someone else, but because you finally made the decision to change what surrounds you. Your words shape your world, and every sentence you speak becomes a blueprint, building either a fortress for your future or a cage for your fears. Your words are far more powerful than most realize. They're not just casual reflections of what you feel or observe. They're declarations, blueprints for the world you're constructing. What you speak about your future, your identity, your struggles. These aren't just passive observations. They are active forces shaping the path ahead. Every time you speak, you lay another brick in the foundation of your reality. Keep talking in a certain direction long enough, and eventually, your life starts moving that way. Proverbs 18 verse 21 makes it plain. The tongue holds the power of life and death. That's not poetic flair. It's a fundamental principle. Your mouth is a weapon. It can be used to build something beautiful or destroy something vital. You either speak life into your future or strip it away with doubt. Every word you say is remembered, not just by others, but by your own mind. They replay in your head, shaping how you think, feel, and act long after they've been spoken. That's why mental strength demands verbal discipline. You can't talk defeat and still expect to walk in victory. You can't say, "I'm not good enough," and still build true confidence. You can't constantly repeat limitations and expect your world to expand. You have to speak like someone who already possesses what they're working for. Because faith doesn't sit around waiting for evidence. It speaks until evidence appears. Think of Franklin D. Roosevelt, paralyzed from the waist down, living through economic collapse and global war. He had every reason to speak from a place of despair. But he didn't. He stood before a fearful, fractured nation and declared, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." That wasn't just a speech. That was a shift, a turning point. One sentence, spoken with conviction, carried the weight to lift an entire generation out of fear. And here's the truth. You don't need to be a president to speak with power. You don't need a platform or a title to speak with truth. All you need is belief in your words, and the integrity to only speak what you truly believe. Choose to speak words that build, not break. Speak words that heal, that inspire motion, that remind you who you are when your emotions start to forget. Your words are not empty. They're tools. They're anchors. They're fire. So use them wisely. Let them summon courage when fear creeps in. Let them steady your steps when the path feels uncertain. Let them tell your mind exactly where it's headed. Because whether you realize it or not, your future is already listening. Speak as if you are the architect of your own future. Because you are. Every word you say is like a design etched into the blueprint of your life. That's why your speech must be trained with intention. Don't speak carelessly. Be deliberate. Be clear. Don't let sarcasm slip through your lips and plant seeds of sabotage. Don't let insecurity disguise itself as humor. Words are not neutral. They are commands, spoken instructions to your subconscious, to your environment, and to your future. So, build a new habit. Speak life over your goals, your health, your relationships, and your calling. Speak with purpose, with hope, with belief. And when you don't yet have the right words, say nothing. Silence, when grounded in self-control, speaks louder than noise driven by fear. Wait until you can speak from strength. Let your silence be rooted in power, not panic. When you speak, speak as if what you desire is already done. Declare it with clarity, with boldness, with conviction. Because when your words rise in strength, your world begins to rise with them. Every sentence you speak is a spell. Make sure it casts a future you want to live in. Speak only what builds the life you were meant to lead. Now here's another truth. Decide before the world decides for you. The strongest minds don't wait for doors to open. They define their own opportunities. They don't just react to life. They take command of how life reacts to them. Strength isn't something you stumble upon in perfect conditions. It's something you forge through powerful decisions. You can wait around, hoping life makes room for your greatness. Or you can build your own table, your own stage, your own opportunity. Because the beginning of mental strength isn't luck, it's choice. As Deuteronomy 30 verse 19 says, "I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life. That verse isn't just sacred advice, it's a divine strategy. Choice isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. You are not a bystander in chaos. You are a steward of your decisions. And when you train your mind to choose with intention, everything begins to change. Confusion fades. Hesitation disappears. Fear retreats. Decide what matters. Decide what you're chasing. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. Because every decision you make is a declaration. It draws a line in the sand and says, I'm not going back. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need validation. What it needs is alignment. Your decision must echo louder than the world's noise, louder than public opinion, louder than your past. And once you decide, the fog clears. 90% of distractions vanish because you're no longer questioning your direction. You're walking in it. The world may not always agree with you, but it always respects someone who moves with conviction. They might question your direction. They might laugh at your boldness, but they will not forget you. Because when someone walks with clarity and purpose, they become impossible to ignore. Just look at Henry Ford. The world scoffed at his vision. People called his obsession with the horseless carriage foolish. But Ford had already made up his mind. While others hesitated, he built. While critics mocked, he made progress. While the masses debated what could or couldn't be done, he simply went out and did it. He didn't wait for permission. He gave himself permission. And in doing so, he didn't just create a new form of transportation. He reshaped history. Because destiny doesn't wait for popular opinion. It follows those who choose with boldness. Decision always comes before destiny. Your real power begins the moment you stop waiting for perfect timing and start moving in the direction of your purpose. Even a flawed decision is better than a delayed one made in fear. Why? Because action brings clarity. Standing still only creates confusion. You don't learn by waiting. You learn by doing. So stop waiting for a perfect sign. Be the sign. Be the proof. Take the first step and adjust along the way. You don't need to see the entire path to begin. And you certainly don't need everyone's approval to start. You weren't placed here to be selected by the world. You were placed here to choose who you will become. Train your mind to lead, not follow. Don't hand your destiny over to others. Don't outsource your direction. Take ownership. Decide who you are with your thoughts. Affirm it with your words. And prove it through your habits. And when the inevitable doubt creeps in, and it will, remind yourself, I already decided. I already crossed the line. I've already committed. Decision is power. It clears confusion, accelerates results, and separates those who merely dream from those who truly transform. Don't wait to feel ready, because readiness isn't a prerequisite. It's a byproduct of movement. So take that step, choose your future, and let the world respond to the strength of your conviction. Because remember, the storm was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. You don't truly discover your strength when everything is peaceful. Real strength shows up when the ground beneath you begins to shake and you're still standing. It's not in moments of comfort that your resilience is formed. It's in moments of chaos, in the heat of pressure, that your inner power is revealed. The storm doesn't mean you're lost or off course. In fact, more often than not, it's a signal that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Because growth doesn't knock when life is easy. It arrives with resistance. James 1:2-4 reminds us of this powerful truth. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. The storm isn't here to punish you. It's here to train you. It's the gym for your character, the teacher of your endurance, the fire that purifies your vision. It strips away illusion and demands authenticity. Storms test what you claim to believe. They expose the fragile parts and fortify what is real. Through repeated trials, they build the muscle memory of mental toughness. That's why you must shift your thinking. Stop seeing adversity as rejection and start seeing it as promotion. The pressure you feel is not a sign of weakness. It's proof that you're being prepared for more. So the next time the storm hits, don't ask, why me? Ask instead, what is this preparing me for? Because every storm has a purpose. Every trial carries a message. And every tremor has the potential to strengthen your foundation if you let it. Don't aim to simply survive the storm, study it. Let it become your mentor. Let it uncover the cracks in your mindset. and expose the areas in your character that still need reinforcement. Let it deepen your understanding of who you are and where you're heading. Let it teach you how to walk through fire without losing your calm, how to face winds of doubt and still hold your course. Because storms don't just show up to destroy, they come to develop. Maybe you're in the middle of one right now. Maybe everything around you feels unstable. The winds may be howling. The path may seem unclear. But hear this storm is not your tomb. It's your training ground. It's the battlefield where mental strength is forged. It's where you become the person who stays calm when others panic. It's where you grow roots that no storm can shake. This is the moment you become unshakable. In the very heart of the storm, you learn to stay calm when everything around you screams chaos. You stay grounded when your emotions try to uproot you. You speak faith aloud, even when fear whispers in your ear. You declare strength when the world expects your collapse. Because this storm is not meant to define you. It is here to refine you. It's the fire that purifies, the wind that sharpens. And once it passes, what it leaves behind is clarity, conviction, and character. You will emerge not only standing. You will emerge strengthened, wiser, and anchored with purpose. Because the one who stands tall in the middle of the storm becomes the one the world cannot move. He doesn't just resist the wind. He learns to work with it. He bends, but he does not break. He holds still, not in surrender, but in strength. And when the storm finally subsides and the skies break open with peace, there is a powerful truth waiting. You didn't just make it through the storm, you became the storm. Unstoppable, unyielding, unforgettable. You became fierce in focus, formidable in resolve, the living embodiment that no external force was ever greater than the strength rising inside of you. To hold this kind of strength, you must think long-term even as you act with urgency. The mentally weak chase fleeting comforts. They live for the next rush, the next shortcut, the next quick fix. But the mentally strong? They are builders of legacy. They construct not just days, but decades. They think beyond now. They think generationally. Because true greatness isn't measured by what you do today. It's measured by the future your actions create. If you want to build a life that outlasts your presence, you must embrace a paradox few master. Move with urgency, but build with patience. The strongest minds hold two clocks, one that beats for now, and one that ticks for forever. You act with full intensity today, knowing each step matters. But you carry the vision of a builder whose eyes are set on eternity. Ecclesiastes reminds us, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Wisdom is the ability to know the difference between what's urgent and what's important. You train your mind for greatness when you connect your short-term effort to your long-term vision. Every action you take, what you eat, what you read, how you think, how you show up, none of it is just about the moment. Every choice you make is more than just a decision. It's a vote for the kind of life you're constructing, a vote for the kind of person you are actively becoming. So don't just ask, does this help me today? Ask deeper questions. Will this matter 10 years from now? Will this action compound in my favor? Are you living with that kind of awareness? Are your habits today building a legacy that outlasts you? Or are they simply keeping you busy with no lasting impact? Think about it. Are your daily routines shaping a future your future self will thank you for, or regret? Because the power to decide always remains in your hands. No one else can choose for you. Adopting a legacy mindset shifts everything. It redefines your understanding of time and patience. You stop getting discouraged when progress feels slow because you're not sprinting anymore. You're committed to the marathon. You no longer waste energy comparing your timeline to someone else's highlight reel. Why? Because your gaze is fixed on a different horizon. You're not here to win a moment. You're here to build something that stands the test of time. A mind anchored in eternity no longer bends under the weight of temporary trials. You stop quitting every time it gets uncomfortable. You stop chasing applause and start pursuing lasting impact. You shift from being a consumer of life to becoming a builder of movements. You're no longer seeking comfort. You're creating consequence. And here's the powerful part. When you start building for forever, you automatically win in the present. Every decision suddenly carries more significance. Every action becomes a building block, not just for now, but for generations to come. Time begins to feel sacred. Energy becomes focused, no longer wasted on things that don't align with purpose. So pause and ask yourself today, am I just going through the motions, or am I intentionally constructing something meaningful? Am I simply surviving, or am I investing in a legacy I may never fully see, but others will live within? That's the calling of the mentally strong, to move with urgency, but to think with vision, to hustle today, but to harvest for decades. Because your life isn't meant to end with success. It's meant to ripple beyond it, leaving footprints for others to follow. And now, we arrive at one undeniable truth. Fear is a liar. And it's time to call its bluff. But here's the truth about fear. It has no authority in your life unless you give it permission to stay. Fear is not the owner of your mind. It's merely a visitor, and you are the gatekeeper. It only lingers when you entertain it, feed it, or stay silent around it. Fear grows in stillness. It multiplies in hesitation. But the moment you face it head-on, name it, write it down, or start walking toward it, something powerful happens. It begins to collapse. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 declares, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." That scripture isn't just meant to uplift you. It defines you. It's a reminder that fear is not part of your original design. You were never meant to live under its weight. You were made to rise above it. You were built for courage, for clarity, for bold steps, and brave words. Fear is clever. It doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Sometimes it wears the face of caution, calling itself being careful. Other times, it pretends to be wisdom or safety. But most often, fear is nothing more than smoke, hollow and formless. And the thing about smoke? You don't run from it. You blow it away. To train your mind to handle fear, drag it into the light. Call it out. Question it. Speak to it directly. Ask, is this even true? What proof do I have that this fear deserves my energy? Is this the full picture, or just a distorted one? Most fears collapse under scrutiny. They're rarely grounded in fact. They live in the realm of what if, and feed off your silence. Fear thrives on delay. The longer you avoid it, the stronger it pretends to become. The more you wait, the heavier it feels. But when you start moving toward it, even if your steps are small, fear begins to shrink. Because fear can't stand movement. It loses its grip in the presence of action. It dissolves in momentum. So stop waiting for fear to vanish. It won't. Not on its own. The mentally strong know this. They don't sit around hoping for peace to arrive before they act. They move anyway. They speak even when their voice trembles. They enter the room even when their pulse races. They choose progress even when fear whispers lies. Because courage was never about feeling ready. Courage is about choosing the right action, even with shaking hands. Your courage isn't defined by the absence of fear. It's defined by your decision to move forward despite it. It's the choice to take action while your hands tremble, to speak up when your voice is unsure, to keep laying bricks even when the blueprint is blurry. Each time you walk through fear, you're sending a powerful message to your own mind. I am not a servant of emotion. I am a leader of intention. That's how the mentally strong are forged, not in avoiding fear, but in embracing it as part of the process. They learn to walk alongside it, not run from it. They get comfortable being uncomfortable. They stop seeing fear as a stop sign and start seeing it for what it really is, a doorway, a threshold, a test. Because on the other side of fear lies everything you've been reaching for: peace, growth, purpose, impact, legacy. But you will never grasp them if you let fear dictate your pace. So today, call it out. What is the fear holding you back? Name it. Write it down. Speak directly to it. And then, take a step. Don't hesitate. Don't sit in the shadows rehearsing worst-case scenarios. Don't shrink when it's time to lead. Move forward. Speak with purpose. Lead with courage. And as you do, watch fear begin to dissolve. Because the moment your mind learns it doesn't have to kneel before fear, you start living from strength. Not someday, but now. You stop settling for less. You rise into who you were always meant to be. And remember this, rest is not weakness. It's strategy. It's power in disguise. Mental strength is not proven by how hard you grind, but by how well you protect your energy. You are not a machine built to run until you crash. You were never designed to wear burnout like a badge of honor. Even warriors need restoration. Even kings retreat. Rest is not quitting. It's recharging. It's not backing down. It's gearing up. It's not a flaw. It's wisdom. Exodus 20 verse 8 reminds us, Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. That wasn't just a religious tradition, it was a divine prescription for longevity. It's a rhythm of resilience, a reset of the spirit and mind, a pause that brings alignment back to your soul. Because even the creator of the universe took time to rest. And if he did, what makes us think we should do any less? Mental toughness is built not just through effort, but through recovery. Schedule your rest with the same urgency you schedule your work. Not just once in a while, but daily, weekly, rhythmically. Because rest isn't a luxury, it's part of the foundation. Take time for stillness, those quiet walks that slow your breath and settle your thoughts. Step away from the constant noise, unplug from the screens that shout for your attention. Spend time alone, not to escape your responsibilities, but to sharpen your focus. Not to abandon your mission, but to reclaim the clarity and composure required to execute it with precision. George Washington understood this better than most. In the middle of the chaos of the Revolutionary War, he didn't just lead with might. He led with measured silence. He mastered not only the art of the sword, but the art of strategy. He knew when to act and when to hold back. His strength wasn't just in what he did, but in how he managed his energy. That's why he didn't burn out halfway through the battle. That's why he endured until the very end. Because he paced himself, he positioned himself for victory. Now ask yourself, are you running on fumes, mistaking constant motion for strength? Are you checking off 100 tasks while slowly emptying your soul? Are you filling your calendar to feel accomplished, while your heart quietly begs for rest? Remember this, there's no reward for burnout, no trophy for exhaustion, no medal for collapse. You were never designed to be in a constant state of doing. You were designed to live with intention, to breathe, to be present, to build with care and purpose. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a red flag that boundaries have been broken. The mentally strong understand this. They don't just know how to move forward. They know when to stop, when to pause, and when to protect their peace like it's the most valuable resource they have. Because it is. Rest doesn't weaken you, it sustains you. It renews your spirit. It sharpens your vision like a blade honed for battle. It allows you to return to the field of life not worn out, but rearmed with clarity and calm. In that stillness, your power is reborn. In the quiet, your strength is rebuilt. So take the pause before you're forced to. Step back, slow down, get quiet. Not as a sign of giving up, but as a declaration. I honor my mission too much to sabotage it through self-neglect. Make rest a ritual, not a rescue. Build it into your rhythm. Then, return. But this time, return with fire in your soul, with unwavering focus, with a calm that no storm can rattle. Because a rested mind is not a passive one, it's a weapon. One that sees what others miss. One that endures what the frantic mind cannot. Mental strength isn't just measured by how long you can keep grinding. It's measured by how well you can protect your inner world. Guard your energy. Guard your peace. Respect the rhythm required to sustain greatness. Because those who finish strong aren't always the ones who sprint the fastest. They're the ones who know when to pause, when to refuel, when to rest without guilt. And rise again with fresh vision in their minds and renewed endurance in their bones. It's not about racing ahead. It's about returning with intention. But here's what steals that rhythm faster than anything: comparison. It crushes clarity. It derails focus. It lures you away from your lane and into a cycle of distraction. The moment you start looking sideways, your vision begins to blur. Comparison doesn't just steal your joy. It slowly chips away at your momentum, feeding your mind lies like, you're falling behind, you're not enough, someone else already won the race. And none of that is the truth. Comparison is a thief, yes. But the most dangerous part? You hand it access. Every time you scroll endlessly, every time you measure your pace by someone else's progress, every time you let their highlight reel define your self-worth, you give comparison control. And when it takes the wheel, it doesn't just redirect you, it drains you. But there's a better way. Galatians 6. For offers freedom wrapped in wisdom. Let each one examine his own work. That's not just a suggestion, it's a key to mental freedom. Your only real competition is who you were yesterday, not your neighbor, not your coworker, not the person with a fancier title, more likes, or a bigger platform. Just you. That's your race. That's your mirror. That's your measure. Train your mind to choose gratitude instead of envy. When you see someone succeed, Celebrate them out loud. Speak it into your soul. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me. Not as a hollow phrase, but as a belief anchored in truth. Their success takes nothing away from your purpose. Their path is not your path. Their timing is not your timing. Their win is not your loss. So take a breath, then return to your assignment. Keep your eyes forward, your feet moving, and your mind anchored in discipline. Mental strength is not found in obsessing over others. It's found in building your own path, one intentional step at a time. You cannot fully master your mission while constantly studying someone else's map. You can't grow your own garden if your eyes are glued to your neighbor's yard. Focus is your fuel, and every drop of energy you spend comparing yourself to others is energy being drained from what you could be creating. Don't forget this. Greatness is not something you find by imitation. It is something you build through clarity. You weren't created to be a copy. You weren't born to blend in. You are a calling, one of kind, handpicked for something meaningful, something sacred, something uniquely yours. And when you finally recognize that truth deep in your spirit, comparison starts to lose its grip on you. It begins to dissolve because you realize you were never meant to compete in someone else's lane. Just look at the legends. The ones who left a lasting mark weren't obsessed with the crowd. They were too focused on setting the pace. They stayed in their zone. They honed their skills. They tuned out distractions, turned down the volume of doubt, and built relentlessly. That's why they stood out, because they stood firm in who they were. So stay focused. Celebrate others. Applaud their wins. Cheer them on with genuine joy. But then return to your work. Every moment you spend watching someone else's highlight reel is a moment stolen from investing in your own legacy. Let others inspire you, not intimidate you. Let their success spark your ambition, not your insecurity. Your mind grows stronger every single time you circle back to your own vision. Every time you resist the pull of comparison and choose excellence instead. Every time you take the energy that could be wasted on envy and redirect it toward your goals, your craft, your calling. That is how you rise. You rise by locking your gaze on what truly matters and releasing everything that doesn't. So today, make a powerful choice. Choose freedom. Freedom from the race you were never meant to run. Freedom from made-up deadlines. Freedom from the illusion that you're falling behind. You're not behind. You're becoming. You're unfolding exactly as you were meant to. And the truth is, no one else can win the race that was designed for you. No one can outperform you at being yourself. So focus, build, rise. And remember this, when your mind is anchored in purpose, comparison holds no power over you. So act like it, because mental strength isn't just for you. It's not only about personal resilience or private discipline. It's about the people you're called to lead, the lives quietly looking to you for direction. Your habits, your choices, your mindset. They're not just shaping your own future. They're becoming a silent roadmap for someone else. Every thought you manage, every emotion you master, every consistent step you take toward your goals, these things speak louder than you realize. They're forming a blueprint that someone else may one day walk. Whether you notice it or not, eyes are on you. And what you demonstrate through your life will either lift others up or let them down. Scripture reminds us, you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. That's not just poetic encouragement. It's a clear calling. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to shine. Light doesn't apologize. It doesn't whisper. It leads. And when your mind is trained, your presence shifts the room. You set a standard just by showing up aligned. You strengthen your mind by fully embracing your responsibility. No more shrinking back. No more hiding in the background. No more waiting for someone else to step forward. You are not a supporting role in this life. You are a leader, whether in your home, at your workplace, or within your community. Someone is observing how you move, how you react, how you carry pressure. And leadership, true leadership, is not about a title printed on a business card. It's about tone, about presence. It's not in how loud you speak, but how consistently you live. People don't follow noise, they follow direction. And real direction comes from clarity. Clarity built on mental discipline, on choosing strategy over reaction, peace over panic, and vision over needing validation. Just look at Clara Barton, the fearless nurse who stood in the middle of war zones. Chaos, bloodshed, despair surrounded her daily. But she didn't retreat. She didn't fall apart. Why? Because she was anchored in purpose. She led not with force, but with presence. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't ask for validation or titles. She simply saw a need and responded. Clara Barton led relief efforts, built the American Red Cross from the ground up, and saved countless lives. Not because she was chosen by others, but because she chose to act. Her focus wasn't on fear or approval. It was locked in on duty. That's what real leadership looks like. And that same kind of leadership, it's inside you too. Stop underestimating your influence. You don't need a corner office or a title to lead. If you have a voice, you have power. If you have consistent habits, you carry influence. Someone, somewhere, is paying attention to how you handle adversity, how you respond when tension rises, how you keep going when quitting seems easier. Your behavior, your quiet courage, might just give them the strength to rise. Every decision you make sends ripples into other people's lives. The words you speak may one day echo in someone else's inner voice. The standards you uphold quietly shape their expectations for what's possible. You're not just living your life. You're modeling what's possible. You are building a legacy, and that requires strength. Mental strength isn't selfish. It's sacrificial because it lifts others in the process. So lead with excellence. Not with the pressure of perfection, not for the sake of appearance, but with integrity. Show up with intention. Stay grounded when things get noisy. Be sharp in your thinking. Be steady in your presence. Lead with peace. In a chaotic world, your calm becomes a powerful contrast. Led with strength, not through ego, but through action. Because the mentally strong don't wait for recognition. They act like they're already chosen. They show up like the solution. And when they do, others follow. So today, step forward. Speak boldly. Stay resilient. Not just for yourself, but for the people walking in your shadow. You are the light. Don't dim it. Use it to guide. Because when your mind is strong, your leadership becomes a force the world cannot ignore. Wishing you health, happiness, and clarity. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily for more empowering content.